The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Nurses protesting today, demanding preference in their own country as the Ministry of Health rolls out the red carpet for more than 30 nurses from Ghana today. They join me live. Also tonight, BPL, more than 1 year later after the Pike deal was announced, still it's creating confusion. Tonight, why are so many asking for clarity concerning the deal? Meanwhile, the ride-share service was all anyone talked about this weekend. Some even going as far as to threaten the government over their votes over shutting the service down. We talk about that tonight. It's all straight ahead for you this evening. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Now, before we get into this, I just want to bring attention to the shirt that I'm wearing. I promised on Friday's show, Justin, if we can just show the whole thing. This is an ode to Team Bahamas, who did incredibly well at Carifta in Trinidad and Tobago last week, and also to the president of the B3As. Hey, Jamaica, I'm wearing the shirt, okay? So, but really, seriously, just congratulations once again to our team in swim and track and field. I am wearing the shirt as I promised on Friday, and so let's get down to the business tonight. The Ministry of Health officially welcoming 32 Ghanaian nurses to the capital today. Their role very important in the administration of healthcare in the Bahamas, which, like many countries, is experiencing a shortage of nurses. But the day didn't go without pushback. A number of local nurses showed up outside the Breezes Super Clubs hotel with placards in tow, demanding that the government treat them with as much respect as they are treating the new nurses from Ghana. We're going to get to the bottom of it this evening. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Nurses Union President Muriel Lightbourne and several of her members. Good evening to all of you. It's good to have you all join me this evening.
Good evening.
You all have been working in the public healthcare system, and it's not been very well for you. In fact, you've been doing so since 2023. We'll get to that in a moment. But, Madam President, I want to talk about what you're wearing this evening. You were dressed as Wonder Woman.
Yes, Ms. Miller, I'm dressed as Wonder Woman. I just want to show you. And I will
put the camera on her.
This is my Wonder Woman outfit today. That's how I'm feeling today. Wonder Woman.
Listen, this is a bold and brave move. What brought this on?
This is what brought this on, Ms. Miller. During the COVID, the nurses in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas was hailed as the superheroes in our country. They were the superheroes, and so I'm representing the superheroes today. I want the minister and those persons in health to see that I remember them saying that we were the superheroes. But today, Shanae,
but they are being treated as anything but. Huh?
Today, they are treating us like the conch. Miss Miller, I was on my way to Arawaki to get a conch so I could show you how they're treating us. You know how they scorch the conch and they beat the conch and they do all those things? That's what they're doing to nurses today. We can't have that.
You know, it's quite unfortunate, though. It really is not a laughing matter. You've been talking about this for quite some time. Why has it fallen on deaf ears?
I believe, Ms. Miller, that they're not taking us seriously. You know why? I told these group of nurses when I met with them, when those persons in the Ministry of Health, those officials get those glowing reports about what is happening in the clinic, then they say, oh, those nurses are working. So I don't have to do nothing for them because they're out there, they're doing what they have to do. And Ms. Miller, that is sad. That is sad, Ms. Miller.
I imagine this was even more vexing. Not the fact that you have these additional nurses in the system because they're needed, but then, by the way, are they senior to these nurses standing here?
If who was senior, those nurses from
that
Ghana?
were just brought in, yes.
Well, I don't know. I know the last time I spoke with some of those nurses from Ghana, there was like a year post-grad, just 1 year. Who country to send their best nurses out? 1 year. Who country? You think the Bahamas is going to make a cut a deal to say to import or export their nurses and send their very best? I wonder.
Listen,
I wonder about
and
that.
when I say senior, I mean they're obviously officially engaged. They have a job title and they've been placed in the system. These
Right.
nurses continue to just work. How are you all paid, by the way? Monthly, weekly, however? Monthly like everybody else, but it's like on a stipend basis. Let's meet these nurses. Let's put the camera on them, even if you have to take me off. Hello to all of you. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. You all today were in front of Super Club Breezes, very upset and feeling that you have every right to be, with placards in your hands. Tell us and the viewing audience what's been happening since 2023.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on the show, having us on the show, Ms. Miller. We just want to say we sat our exams in 2023. We've been working in the clinic since then. We work for the Ministry of Health. Our contract has expired. It was an 18-month contract. It's since expired. No one is telling us anything about our appointment letters. No one is telling us anything about our back pay. We're working on a half pay right now.
And what is what is the half pay? Like just a roundabout figure.
Around $1,500
A month.
A month.
In this time when the cost of living continues to be an issue, we know that there's been a little easement in the food stores. But the point is, living in Nassau is no joke.
No, it's
I mean,
not.
who rents an apartment here? Who?
Exactly.
All
We
of you?
all rent.
All of you. You know what rent is nowadays.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so finish telling your story. So you had an 18-month contract
Contract.
that has since expired when?
Yes, it has. It expired, that was November last year. Yes.
Yeah.
And so they appointed about 9 of our nurses. In our cohort, it was about 26 of us. The 9 that they did appoint aren't getting any of the benefits. They didn't get their back pay for the months that they've worked so far. And they're expected to continue working. And while they got their appointment letters and a slight increase, we have not received anything. And so now we're asking our supervisors, we're calling the Ministry of Health, we're calling public service, and everyone is telling us, oh, the money is coming. Oh, don't worry, money don't spoil. Oh, don't worry, when it comes, y'all can be happy, it can come just in time. People have bills, people have families. I can't go to SuperValue and tell them money don't spoil or it come in. I need my money. And it's not just the money. We can't go to the bank and get a home. We
So
can't
you
get
all
a
are being
loan.
held hostage, really, just in one place, not able to move, not able to go and plan a future because you're not officially engaged by the Ministry of Health. Your
Exactly.
pay is what it is,
Exactly.
and you just you kind of sort of have no flexibility to do anything because you're not officially engaged.
And without a contract, we've been working as a registered nurse, but then when it's convenient to them, they're telling us that we're not registered nurses.
You're performing the duties of registered nurses,
Exactly.
but only
Yes.
when it's convenient.
Exactly.
Ms. Miller, just let me interject. I'm here. I'm listening to them. I think it was 2 Thursdays ago, there was an incident at the clinic in Elizabeth Estate. Tuesday, they said a client came into the clinic, very aggressive. It took more than 30 minutes for the police to come from across the road, because you know the clinic and then there's Elizabeth Police Station. And it took more than 30 minutes for the police to come over there to remove that gentleman from the Elizabeth Estate Clinic. The following Thursday, the clinic, the gentleman came back to the station, to the clinic. This time, he had with him a knife and the scissors. But one of the doctors was there, praise the Lord, to assist in holding that gentleman down. Again, they had to go over to the station to bring a police there because it took so long for the police to come over there.
The police, that's a step away.
Which is a step away. And then the Friday after that, there was a situation where there was no doctor in the clinic after 5 o'clock. So these nurses who were not employed technically who are still reading appointment letters. These clinics, these nurses were supposed to be left in the clinic to quote unquote triage these patients when they come in. So when I said to the officials, I said, these nurses are not going to stay in this clinic, not if there's no doctor. And Shanique, the clinic administrator, was leaving the clinic as well, which meant that the only persons that would have been working in that clinic after 5 a.m. was these nurses who are not engaged, who were still waiting on appointment. That can't be for real.
And when you say waiting on appointment, I mean, do they have no benefits?
No
No.
benefits.
Besides a very small salary, no benefits either.
No
benefits.
benefits because Shanique, they're not engaged. Technically, they're not employed. But yet, when I told those nurses, I told the clinic administrator at the time, I say, these nurses will not stay there in this clinic. They're not going to sit there and be at risk in case somebody comes.
Talk about the risk. I mean, obviously there was a safety risk, and I'm
It's
sure
a
you
safety
encounter that
risk.
regularly
Yes.
with people who are
Yes.
irate, hurt because of whatever the issue is. But
Yes.
talk about also you on the front line of any infections, diseases, all that.
We work at South Beach where there's a COVID center. I think we're the only clinic with a COVID center. We're working out there with respiratory diseases and we're going home to our families. It's difficult, it's disheartening to know that we're putting our lives out there for the community, and we love our jobs, we love our people, but we are not being respected. It's like every time you look around to see if anyone will actually give us an answer or give us some kind of benefits, it's always shut down and someone telling us, oh, we just have to sit and grin and bear it. It's been 2 years.
As far as you all are aware, what do these Ghanaian nurses have in terms of benefits and how they are being treated just out the gate on their first day of orientation already?
From what I gather, the Ghanaian nurses are receiving room and board for 3 months. They're also getting transportation, and I think they also get a 3-month bonus on their pay. So they get 3 months up front. We don't receive that.
Did your protest get any response at all today?
No.
You mean you're being ignored with that as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, just let me interject. I know today I would have received a call from someone in the commission who said to me that there were some letters over there. I went and I looked to see for those persons. And I think there may be one person in this group whose name was there, whose letter would have been prepared, such so to speak.
But why do you think it's taking so long?
I don't know
Maria?
why. I don't know why, Miss Miller. For the life of me, I don't understand why. I think it's simply because nurses continue to work. They don't complain. They're not saying nothing. And when we have persons who are saying to us, like she just mentioned, all the money coming. Money don't be late. Money is late when your light is getting turned off. Your light is getting turned off.
Have any of you encountered hardships in terms of whether it's rent, whether it's meeting utility bills, eating?
Definitely.
Just tell the officials that.
We have co-workers, colleagues who have graduated with us. They've been evicted. We've had people with their electricity off for months on end because they can't afford to.
You mean nurses getting dressed in white like you're all going to
Yes,
work every
ma'am.
morning and electricity's off?
Yes,
Off.
ma'am.
Continue.
They can't afford to provide for their children, their families, and maintain electricity and water. And it's hard. I mean, for someone coming to work every day and doing the job, it's difficult. But no one is looking, no one is saying anything. We're just sitting here waiting. And when you do say something, it's like, okay, they don't want you to get in someone's bad books and you're going to be ostracized or criticized for saying something.
But tell
and standing
the
up for
bad
yourself.
books comment to the bill collectors, eh?
Very true.
And that's my point, Miss Miller. These young ladies, they're working. You can't go to the bank and you can't go to nobody and say, oh, I could get paid later. Just as she mentioned, one of the nurses said to me, one of her colleagues said to me, Jess, and she would have mentioned it to a reporter today as well. She said, you know, before I came into nursing, I worked in the hotel. I never slept. I never had a day when my light was off. But now to this day, to date, while we were out there and she was out there, she said, my light has been off for over a month now. You know what BPL told her? We'll try to go to the Minister, Pierre Glover. Why? When all they have to do is ensure that this woman is getting the salary she deserves. And while she is sleeping, Miss Miller, in the dark, those nurses from Ghana living in the hotel in air condition.
They living in air condition for the
They
for the
living
next
in
3
air
months until
condition
they
for
can
the
find-
next 3 months, and they get their salary already. You understand what I'm saying?
They have their salaries up front?
They're getting their salaries up front.
Ladies, how
'Cause
does it
everything
feel?
is a-
How does it feel?
come on.
Like seriously, like almost a stranger coming in your house and has more rights in your house than you do. Does somebody describe that? What do you say?
It's disrespectful. It's disappointing to see that we come here, we go to school for 5 years, we sit the exam in our own country, we come to serve our people, and the foreigners come over and they're treated better than us. It's very disappointing. And as my colleague said, it's a slap in the face. It's not fair for us to be treated that way. And then the people would say, oh, well, the nurses only care about the money. The nurses are all leaving. There's all these negative things about the nurses, but we are getting the brunt. We're getting it from the top and the bottom. We can't get paid. We can't get respect. If you try to stand up for yourself, it's a problem. If you sit back, you'll wait for the rest of your life. There's no middle ground. It's very, very frustrating.
It is also quite unfortunate that this continues to linger. Why? Who knows? I mean, you know, Madam President, is there something that the public needs to know about why this is dragging on for now well over 2 years? Huh? Why is it dragging on that these women are working sort of just in limbo? Why?
Ms. Miller, I can't understand for the life of me why. When I looked, I was checking on some files the other day, and I saw a letter from the former one of the first president and the person of Leola Hamilton. Would you believe in 2005 they was fighting the same fight? In 2005, she was fighting for some nurses, a group of nurses who would have finished, and 14 months later, they was not appointed in their position. In 2005, that's 20 years ago, Ms. Miller. Come on, man.
Madam President,
years ago.
speaking of, before we wrap up this segment, are you still president of the nurses? I know you're here and you flex in your costume. I know, I see that. But word on the street is that you've been ousted.
Ms. Miller, I'm here today, right?
Well, you know
Sitting right here today.
You're here this evening.
Ms. Miller, this evening, I'm here today. Ms. Miller, I know there's been some things going around, but you can trust me. I am the president of the Bahamas Nurses Union. I know there's some persons sending some things out there, and they're all up in their feelings. But Ms. Miller, I have facts.
Well,
They can say what they want to say, but I have facts.
You are welcome to come back and speak on those. Nurses, listen,
Yes.
I think the nation sympathizes with you because you really ought to be treated and compensated like the professionals that you are, who are studied and who are qualified and working every day to provide a vital service. I mean, we know of the shortage in the nursing industry,
Yes.
and here you all are saying that, you know, how you're treated is less than desirable. I thank you all very much, Madam President. Thank you. Thank you very much to your nurses.
Yes.
This platform is certainly remains open to you. And
Yes.
thank you very much for stopping by this evening. This has
Yes.
been On the Headlines. We're back right after the break.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
Welcome to Blissful Escapes, where luxury meets affordability. Whether you're seeking relief from aches and pains or simply looking to indulge in some well-deserved pampering, relax and detox in our infrared sauna. Enjoy a soothing Swedish massage or an invigorating exfoliating body scrub. We also provide advanced facial treatments using cutting-edge technology, including hydrofacial, microneedling, and microcurrent therapies, located at the shops of Cable Beach Plaza.
Celebrate the incredible women in your life this Mother's Day, and don't forget the special offer from Cornet Bahamas. From April 16th to May 16th, enjoy a fantastic 35% off store-wide. That's right, everything you need to show your love and appreciation is on sale. Whether it's a heartfelt gift for mom, a treat for yourself, or something special for that amazing woman in your life, we've got you covered. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Visit any one of our stores today. Make this Mother's Day unforgettable with Cornet Bahamas.
You work hard to provide for and protect the ones you love. However, life can present unexpected challenges. Who you call in times of need matters. Insurance Management is a Bahamian-owned company that has been serving our community for over 40 years, offering a wide range of coverage for all of your personal, professional, and commercial needs. When life happens, rest easy knowing that our skilled and experienced agents are there for you in your time of need, so that you can get back to what matters most. Insurance Management. Nobody does it better.
Security Depot makes shopping in the Bahamas easy. Shop the latest appliances, electronics, furniture, gadgets, toys, and so much more on our website, securitydepot242.com. See an item you like? Simply click on it, move to cart, and check out with the option of in-store pickup or home delivery. Endless possibilities are at securitydepot242.com.
Keep the Vibe Alive Music Group presents The Legends of Breakin' Spray. Get ready for the biggest names in Bahamian music live on stage. KB, Funky D, Chino D, D-Ma, Sweet Emily, Simeon Alton, Veronica Bishop, and more like the Singing Bishop. Mark your calendars for Saturday, May 10th at the Farm, Marshall Road. Gates open at 6 p.m. General admission 80, VIP 120. Tickets available at Missouri, Bungie Brand at the Beauty Shack, both locations. Skyboxes and Sky Pod. Call ESC Distributors at 394-0819. Or email keepthevibealive242@gmail.com. Saturday, May 10th. Come by boat and play and experience the legends of Breakin' Scrape. Brought to you by Keep the Vibe Alive Music Group, ESC Distributors, Missouri, The Plug, The Beauty Shack, Bahamas Inn, Bookie Brand, and Caribbean Wines and Spirits.
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
This segment of Beyond the Headlines is brought to you by the Legends of Rake and Scrape, May 10th at the Farm, Marshall Road.
More questions tonight on the details of the deal or deals that make up the operations overhaul at the Bahamas Power and Light. Tonight, in this segment of the show, we take a look at why there are still 1 year after the introduction of Pike, questions are lingering about the agreements that make up the energy reform strategy. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, a new face and, of course, a familiar face. Nico Moscow, it's good to have you here. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
And good evening to you, Ali.
Good evening, Shanique. As always, it's good to be here on a Monday evening.
Yes, absolutely.
Starting the week.
Starting the week, energetic and strong, and let's get it going. So Opposition Leader Michael Pintard is asking for details on the BPL overhaul to be made available. The union has for some time as well, if you remember, been lobbying for the same thing. This is the BPL union. What's missing from all the government has said that still has people demanding more information is what I'd like to know and get started on this evening. And so perhaps, Ali, if you can get us started, what is it that people still want to know more about that they just find just lacking too many questions or just too many areas where it's not filled in?
Well, Shanique, what people are really asking for is what the Bahamas Constitution Party has sued the government since last August, and they refuse to respond in the court of the Supreme Court of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. The fact that what the government has given to Pike or has offered Pike in their deal is the concern. And now, is it 8 months, 9 months later? They have put this before the Parliament of the Bahamas, and we still asking for the actual information that is concerning the deal with Pike. The government is really seriously a disgrace in this regard, because if the Court of the Bahamas, if we have sought to find out on behalf of the Bahamian people what it is that they're doing, what they're giving to Pike, and what is going to affect the ownership of the Bahamian people, and they refuse to answer to that, that is very concerning regarding their respect for the rule of law. And the people still wants to know where is the ownership of the Bahamas Electricity Corporation in the deal with Pike.
I thought it was laid out already, like 40% people, 60% or so Pike. But Nico, your thoughts. Ali said that it's a disgrace that the government still has people in 2025 in the month of April asking questions. Do you agree?
Well, in terms of saying it's a disgrace, it is a concern. Now, what should have happened, Mr. Pintard, the opposition leader, indicated that it's a propaganda tool. If you are going to do these large, fantastically large and deals with anybody that is not a Bahamian, or even if it is with Bahamians, what the people want to do is be informed. They want to be informed for the simple fact is they want to know what is going on. Now, a period of 8 or 9 months and not giving the people what they're asking for is something that really is a concerning matter. And not only that, then the Bahamian people are going to question the credibility, the accountability, and everything that is tied to it with delaying providing the information that is being asked by the Bahamian people. So it is something that is concerning. Why is it taking so long, we ask. Having said that, reading in one of the newspapers today, the Prime Minister has indicated that all of the deals will be publicized.
Right. So is that good? He said, listen, we don't want to give it, little drops here, little drops there. No. We want to come to the Bahamian people with the entire picture so that they have a full understanding of what this deal will look like, how that $1+ billion will be allocated for all the things that will happen as he laid out in the Parliament last week. Do you think that we are just perhaps being just a little too antsy and not willing to just wait for all of this to come together and be presented to us?
But he's giving us piecemeal now, if I may. He's giving us piecemeal because since last August, July, in fact, from June, he keeps saying he's going to do it. He never did it. Back and forth, we send him to the Supreme Court to answer, to give the Bahamian people, to demand that the Bahamian people get the information. Now he comes at the end of April and say it's still not all together and we're going to do it. He is faking, and
He's what?
Faking.
He's faking.
And I'm saying faking because propaganda is fake news.
So then do you think that the Prime Minister and all that he said and the little bits and pieces, because remember last week he also said, Nico, he also said expect some sort of short-term discomfort in terms of expecting your power bills to go up. I mean, that's, again, something else just to drop there. And people are saying, but wait a minute, though, aren't we supposed to be paying less? That's
another concerning matter, that the Bahamian people, we have asked for information. The opposition leader has requested transparency. There's a number of organizations that have asked for transparency. And what I humbly think is that the Bahamian people have had enough we were asking for it, we've been asking for it, and it never materializes. So I don't think it's a matter of being antsy or anything to that effect, is that we've gone through a number of years without being told what is going on. And we are the stakeholders. We're the ones that are entitled to know what is going on. Mm-hmm. And that's what the Bahamian people are saying. And they're saying it loudly. And to a certain degree, whether or not the word disrespect is the right word, but the Bahamian people feel disrespected by not being told what is going on.
Being informed.
We elected you to do your job, and then when you're there, be it whatever government administration or whomever it may be, the Bahamian people are put on the back burner. So that is now starting to get more and more and more agitating for the Bahamian people, and it has to be addressed.
The matter, Shanique, if I may, the matter of transparency before the Supreme Court of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas can't be any clearer when we demand that the government answers. They don't want to answer.
Did the government acknowledge your writ?
Yeah, in fact, they acknowledged our writ. They decided that first they did not acknowledge. They had to acknowledge that it was. Then the Attorney General decided that they're going to put a motion to dismiss. Mm-hmm. We put our skeleton arguments against their motion. Before that, they were seeking a date to dismiss. When we put our skeleton arguments before the Supreme Court, they decide they don't need a date anymore. They don't want a date anymore because they can't answer the writ. They can't answer the first motion, and they can't answer the skeleton arguments against the motion to dismiss. The government and the case that was put forward by the Attorney General office had no basis in law whatsoever. They expect to bring forward a case with none of those who was the defendants answering by the testimony that they should put forward. They did not bring it forward, and they expect that the case would proceed, but they come now to the Bahamian people, mm-hmm. and they're saying to the Bahamian people, we still just going to bring you peace, because they're feeding us piecemeal because
What is it specifically, both of you, what is it that we, the Bahamian people, want and need to know about this BPL, Pike, and all the other sort of accompanying agreements deal?
I think the first thing I think we need to know, although the government says that 60% of the company of the Bahamas Grid Company will belong to Island Grid. We want to know who are some of the principals that may be in the government, who are part shareholders and who may own some of this company. I think that's the biggest concern with the Bahamian people, whether some of that money is getting in the hands of politicians. And unless they bring all the information, put it before the Bahamian people, then that is what people will always be afraid about. Who is getting ownership in the actual energy mm-hmm. Transfer or re-energize, not re-energize, the reorganizing of the energy plan.
Yeah.
That concerns the Bahamian people.
Yes.
Anything to add, Nico? I'll tell you this. People are saying, though, hey, Michael Pintard, it's good that you're speaking up. Excellent. It's good to hear you say this in the news today. But why are you just speaking? What happened? It took you all this time to actually put these questions out there. The deal is done. Do you both agree?
A day late and $1 short. Because from last August, he should have been speaking. He's in charge of the Public Accounts Committee. While this matter was going forward last year, and the people, the unions, the BCP pushing it forward, mm-hmm. he sat there in Parliament saying nothing, mm-hmm. just allowing it to go. Now he is the one, part of the propaganda, just saying, well, we're just talking politics. No. He should have gotten up. He should have demanded what it is the people want. Mm-hmm. He has dropped the ball in his work.
Ask these questions now. Do you agree, Nico, that Michael Pintard should have been asking these questions a year ago?
Well, not having all the facts before me, I can't say either yes or no. But just like anything else, it's better late than never. So the opposition leader is speaking up about it, and regardless, it's here. things are done about it, and he is now asking for it to be disclosed. And I don't think that that he's too late or otherwise. I think people are asking for it, and everyone is now saying, listen, please, let's see who the players are, how this is going to affect us. And then when you hear the government saying, it's going to be a little...
hold on for a minute. We're going to give you everything. Just hold on. Well, it was a trending story all weekend. The Department of Road Traffic shutting down the ride-share services in New Providence. Now, the Road Traffic Department is cautioning residents that offering ride-share services similar to the Uber service in the United States using private vehicles is illegal. The company representatives are sending this strong message to transportation policymakers.
I know there's a pricing market in the Bahamas, but it's not followed, right? And I know there's a system in place for taxi drivers, but it's not being adhered to. Number one, they overcharge. Number two, they're not catering to the locals, and they're catering to the locals. So it's not even that we just want to make money. We're trying to cater to the Bahamian people, and the Bahamian people won't stand for that, because we have something that's of value to us. And they're saying, no, we can't have it. But why? They're not even saying why. We need to find a middle ground. You can't just say it's illegal if the entire Bahamian market is begging for a transportation market for Bahamians. We need to find a middle ground. If it needs to be regulated, let's have that. Let's have the conversations. Let's have the tough conversations. Let's just not try to find the easy way out and just say it's banned. Let's try to have the tough conversations and try to find middle ground, because the Bahamian market needs it. And you have to listen to the Bahamian people, otherwise things will not go good.
Well, there you have it. So he brought up some very key points. Cab drivers do not service over the hill areas. They perhaps just stick to certain areas, right? So this gentleman who said, listen, we are providing a vital service here. So why? But listen, let's just dissect this for a moment. This is a very serious issue, isn't it?
Very serious.
Jump in.
This is an area that is not regulated. There isn't, from what the Road Traffic Act contains, this type of ride share is something that is highly complex. And if you are not licensed, by virtue of not been given a license to conduct this ride share, yes, it is illegal. Until such time you are licensed, then there's no discussion. Now, the government has said, road traffic in its statement, saying that it's under review. Now, this is very different than the taxi drivers. Mm-hmm. But the gentleman that was making his statement also pointed out that, is it being regulated properly? Now, we have hackers all over the place in Nassau. They don't have insurances. They're taking money away from people that are legitimate in doing what they're doing. The question is, are they being apprehended? Is it being regulated in order to allow for another legitimate spin-off of the taxi by having the ride share? What we have to do is deal with the hackers themselves. They know where they are. Mm-hmm. And so
they've been operating for decades.
Exactly.
I mean, Ali, jump in really quick.
Yeah, what I believe, and I have used Uber in the United States all along. However, it is necessary that whenever in any society, whatever service is offered to the public has to be regulated by the government, not overtaxed, just regulated. And the purpose of that is, when we jump in a car to go somewhere, we are very much aware of human trafficking that's going on. You can jump in a car and somebody can carry you to take your kidney, your liver, any number of things, because that is what is happening in our world today. So it's very important that the government has to be responsible to make sure that these are regulated. And the same thing applies even with Airbnb. Yes. We have to make sure that it is regulated for persons advertising these services.
I absolutely agree. Listen, we could get into this further. In fact, we perhaps will have a thought or two in the next segment. But I thank you both very, very much. Nico, welcome on board. I think you passed the test.
Thank you.
I think you passed the test.
So welcome to the show, Nico.
Welcome to the show.
I didn't see the camera explode, so that's good.
Don't go anywhere. We're backward after this.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
I was an electrician for 18 years, and one day I just lost my sight and found that I was in a totally new world. I just found this strength that came from nowhere, and here I am today. Even though I am faced with disabilities, the fire in me, it never went out as related to me being an entrepreneur. But the barrier is just people being understanding and willing to take a chance on somebody like myself. My dream is to see where the government can really pass laws, legislation to assist people like myself. And whether you believe it or not, we do have something to offer this country. We have to make people understand that we are here. And not in many cases we looking for handout. We want to make a contribution. You gotta live. And part of living is that you gotta take charge of your life. And through programs like this with the SBDC, I know for a fact that my business can now come to life.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit sbdcbahamas.com.
Take sports seriously. Get ready to experience the thrill of winning anytime and any place. Bet in real time and live the thrill of every play while watching your winnings stack up. It's your chance to score big with fast payouts and a world-class experience. Get in the game and bet the Bahamian way with Island Luck Sportsbook.
So you want a space. But not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
This segment of Beyond the Headlines is brought to you by the Legends of Rake and Scrape, May 10th at the Farm, Marshall Road.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Good to have you continuing to tune in this evening. We're going to jump right into some hot topics discussion. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Leslie Miller, Ellington Ferguson. Gentlemen, good evening to both of you.
Good evening, Shanique. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here once again.
It's good to have you here, Ellington. Great. Listen, let's just talk about the pickle, and that's just even a word I shouldn't use, that the Nurses Union and its membership, you saw them at the top of tonight's show, find themselves in. You know, they said, listen, the Ghanaian nurses are here, and they in fact, this evening, they are in AC and they're in air conditioning and light in hotel rooms, relaxing, while some nurses don't even have power because of their pay, because of being, again, not formally engaged by the Ministry of Health, yet performing registered nurses' duties?
They are registered nurses?
Yeah, they said they're performing those duties, and some of them are.
I think all of this speak to the whole issue. We talk about having a shortage of nurse, and it raises a question. Is this a shortage of nurse for a lack of people interested in nursing, or is it a shortage of nurse because of how we handle those persons that goes into nursing and then after a while decide, you know what, I can't work under these conditions, let me seek employment elsewhere. And then we say, well, the United States is taking all of our people. Is it that they're taking all of our people, or is it that we're handling them in such a manner where they have no longer no desire to work in this market? Because, you know, Bahamian love prefers to be home at any time. And so all of this begs the question, we have to bring in nurse from elsewhere that is causing us to get some flack now. And so we've got to be careful how we handle these people that are very vital to our society. Okay, we remember how they worked with us during COVID. They were on the front line. Some of them were getting sick on the front line and all of that. And if these people are owed certain things, if certain things is right by them, could we please get it to them? Could we please give them what is right pay or right remuneration, whatever it is, whether it's their status in the service. I mean, we cry about these people leaving us, but we're not doing much to kind of encourage them to stay here and serve.
First, I'd like to thank Dr. Mortimer and Dr. Nixon for assisting a good friend of mine on the weekend who had to have an emergency operation. We went in there on Saturday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, about 6, 7 o'clock. And that very night they had to operate an emergency. They're doing a wonderful job at Princess Margaret Hospital. It bothers me that we are bringing in nurses from Africa, Cuba, and elsewhere, providing them with a good pay, providing them with housing. I guess in some cases maybe transportation, I'm not sure.
Yes, that's what
good
they said.
Good pay is questionable.
They said transportation as well.
Good pay is questionable.
Why is it that we can't take care of the nurses that we have, the Bahamian nurses who are doing a job? They're registered nurses. I assume every registered nurse in the world has the same qualifications. I'm hopeful anyhow that is the case. Why is it that our nurses have to be all the time fighting to get what is legally theirs? I think it's time to stop. The minister and those need to sit with these nurses and get this matter sorted once. If you owe back pay, pay the back pay.
Pay the back pay.
What's the problem? You know, but don't bring in foreigners in the country
on top of
the problem that you have without paying them.
Yeah.
You're insulting their intelligence.
Absolutely.
And these are hard-working people. There's no reason why the minister can't sit down with them tomorrow and say, here's the problem. This is the amount that is owed. At the end of the month, you'll be paid.
Or proper engagements and,
Yes, deal with it. Absolutely.
And their status.
And those who are not fully engaged and fully hired should be fully hired and placed in a position that they have the expertise to work in. What's the problem?
It's been dragging on too long, gentlemen.
These are simple, basic things that you can take care of in a day.
Why is it dragging on so long from 2023? Why? I mean, what is the reason? And for people who play such a vital role in the administration of healthcare,
it's life and death situation.
And many times they are the ones. The doctors just kind of come in at the last minute. They're the ones who tend to a patient, nurse a patient, and. The thing is, it is something that is unnecessary to be lingering this long.
Totally.
It's unfortunate that we see to take this route and we tout about what we're doing in healthcare service and how we're going to develop and be building hospitals and all of that. We don't need to have hospitals without nurses. If we continue to lose our Bahamian nurses because we're not handling them well,
every day.
We're shooting ourselves in the foot.
Speaking of healthcare professionals, I imagine perhaps doctors and nurses, this one. So we talked about pay a moment ago. Well, the government is paying, and they're paying well. They pay good for qualified healthcare professionals. They also pay the Cubans very good. Now, of course, you very well. You all remember some weeks ago when Marco Rubio, Secretary of State in the United States in the Trump administration, talked about this region. Basically, in my words, slave labor, basically. Having these people work and they're not being paid as they should. Well, they are. Apparently, the region, including the Bahamas, engages these professionals through an agency. That agency gives them less than 20%.
But is that a government agency?
Who knows what it is? But the government, as you all, the Prime Minister has said that he is now, meaning his team, he is assigned, investigating and in talks with this agency. Now let's talk about that, you all. Let's talk about the fact that these people know what their salaries are. They know what they're being paid, but they see less than 20% of it.
Well, I think to start with, that's how their regime operates, and they know that in coming here, that is what was going to happen. It's unfortunate, though, that we've got to be careful when we make these agreements, because we here in the free world, and we have these things about human rights and stuff that we subscribe to, and with our neighbor to the north that is watching over our shoulders. Of course, you know that
trouble to watch yourself right now.
Cuba is a country that's been closed up, and you know the embargo against
unfairly.
You know the embargo against the Cuban.
Absolutely.
There's an embargo existing against the Cuban government
for no reason.
And so when you take on these kind of deal where the government get the majority of these people pay, you're funding a government that has sanctions on them. And that's what the U.S. have
unfair
said.
Sanctions, yes.
That you're sanctioning,
Grossly
you are
unfair.
supporting that government financially while they have sanctions on them. And so you got to decide as a government. We can decide as a country if we want to go that route. We can decide that. And that's why I was concerned with the statements of the Minister of Foreign Affairs a few weeks ago, I think a few months ago, when this first came out. His statement was a bit brash. The Prime Minister was very measured. He talked about looking into it, and now we talk that he's talking with the agencies and investigating it. So you've got to be careful when you align, how you align, what's going to happen, what are the outfall, what are the implications, what are the fallout for your country or with these other countries, and so we got to be careful of these things.
I agree totally
of space.
That if any professional company in this country, Cuban or not, should be paid their fair salary. We got to determine whether this organization or this agency that hired these people come to Bahamas, whether it's a government-operated operation or whether it's a private operation in Cuba. Because all businesses are not run by the government in Cuba. Many businesses are now being loosely run and given a priority to do basically what most of the countries in this hemisphere does. But I think it's totally unfair. If the U.S. have an embargo on Cuba, certainly you can't expect for the Caribbean, with similar people and like backgrounds, to have something that is so unfair for the last 60 years, placed on such a minute country. I mean, for Christ's sake, what is Cuba going to do? Bomb America? Huh? I mean, just look at the size. Cuba is less of a size than any state in the Union, and you're going after them, and now you're going to punish them some more, just because you can't get your way. I think that's grossly unfair. But again, those doctors should be paid the same as they pay here in the Bahamas, and the money should belong to them.
And they should get all their pay.
And no one else should be able to touch their money. That's all I'm saying. I think it's just fair pay. It's only fair that parity is given to any foreigner who comes to this country with a valid work permit to work, that they receive the same benefits than anybody else receives.
They should get all their pay, and we hope that is rectified. I imagine, though, this is a decades-long thing and practice. And how easy will it be to go and negotiate and say, listen, in the Bahamas, when you send them here, they're to receive every cent of their monthly pay. I mean, that's just going to be quite interesting to see how
that's not very easy to do.
No, it isn't, because it's something that's been happening for decades.
Yeah, absolutely, in Cuba. And so they have their regime, how they work. I'm not sure how their Cuban government is going to respond to this.
You on Bahamian soil. The government has the right.
Yeah.
But the government.
But apparently the money goes to that agency
directly with those people. So being on Bahamian soil is one thing, but the government negotiated with the government of Cuba.
The government of Cuba. The government of Cuba.
Okay. I'm not sure that they
so
negotiate the government
everything
of Cuba
goes through the Cuban government.
Okay, but I'm not sure that they negotiate on the terms that is being given to them.
No, this was negotiated based on Cuban government laws in operation.
Absolutely. And then obviously there's agreement that, listen, you send their paychecks here. This is what we get. We send that back to them. And so, again, it's quite unfair when we discover that they're getting less than 20% of what they earn each month.
That's grossly unfair.
Absolutely. Listen, it's a whole lot. So hopefully that gets sorted out. It's no easy and quick fix, though. I'm sure. I know it's not. Listen, gentlemen, the ride share thing, you all know about Uber. In fact, have Ubers replaced taxis in the United States?
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Like you can rarely find a taxi anymore.
Taxis are still officially at the airport, yes.
Just at the airport.
Taxis are not moving other places. Taxi is
Just,
still the
I mean,
official ride.
barely,
Uber
because
has
you've
crept
got
in.
Lyft, you've got
They've
Uber, you've
crept
got
in.
so much.
They took a large portion of the market, and they've had a lot of issues. They're coming around. Now some of them are getting some level of regulations. And so we've got to be careful of what creeps in here. Okay, the government of the Bahamas is responsible for its citizen and any business that it allows to operate in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So if the government of the Bahamas allow unauthorized business to operate in the Bahamas and something happened to somebody with the government knowledge, the government can be sued. Okay, when you ride in an Uber, as it is now in the Bahamas, the insurance is automatically canceled. You cannot go to the insurance if something happened and say, well, I was in an accident in this car and I want to sue. That car has no insurance because the insurance is not for commercial use. Once you use that vehicle, there is no insurance. There's no coverage for nobody that's in that vehicle.
No coverage to operate as a commercial entity.
Not. And so you cannot go and claim on that. And so we've got to be careful of these things when we put these things out.
No, and I'll tell you, it got really nasty this weekend with people saying, listen, PLPC, we vote for you. It is ignorant. And I want to say that as well. It's very ignorant because if you hear, and this is just the surface of how wide this pit is basically as it relates to the share ride and all the rest of it. You cannot go and start a business like this. There are so many things to take into account, and that must be regularized.
Let me say this about taxi.
They shouldn't be on the road.
They don't have insurance.
Let me say this about taxi. The taxis is doing something. Taxis still serve local people. Taxis is putting an app together because a lot of time they go to pick up people. You call the taxi because your friend who's supposed to pick you up and show up. And so when you call the taxi and they're on the way, your friend come and you just go and they show up and you go. But the taxi cab union is now putting together an app that they're going to reveal to the Bahamas soon where you will prepay prior to them coming. So if you
because that's what you do on a Lyft.
Exactly.
That's what you do on an Uber.
So that's what the taxi union
also
is
that's
now
why
doing.
the cab drivers normally don't service many areas anymore right now.
Exactly.
Because they tired of getting either gypped or
people get them in a dark lane, hop out the car, walk through one yard, go to the next, and they don't see them no more. Or they rob them.
Oh, Lord, I tell you.
Those are issues that taxi cab has been facing.
Interesting. Listen, we have much more to talk about this. In fact, perhaps even continue it tomorrow evening on tomorrow's show. But I want to thank you all for tuning in. Of course, at the top of tonight's show, you all saw the nurses as well as the nursing union president here. In the middle of the show, we had Nico Moscow, Ali McIntosh here. And here in this segment, I wonder if Leslie and Ellington are free tomorrow. I'd love to have them back. Leslie Miller and Ellington
Always
Ferguson.
a pleasure to be with you.
Good to have you both here. Thank you very much. And thank all of you for tuning in this evening. Certainly loved having you along and look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.